Hi, Rage Nation. Kimber Schaefer here, reporter and owner for Rage in the Cage, Oklahoma. I've got Ezra Johnson next to me. We are here at James White Fitness in Norman. We're so thankful that they are allowing us to do pre-fight interviews and have such a great setup for us. We're sitting right in the middle of their cage, right in the middle of their gym. And we are so thankful for this gym for supporting pre-fight interviews, for supporting our events, inviting fighters out. And I'm thankful that you, Ezra, were able to make the drive for these pre-fight interviews. All of this leading into Rage in the Cage 101. We just got through Rage in the Cage 100. We are on 101 now. This event is going down at the Oklahoma City Farmers Public Market on Saturday, August 17th. And time for you to talk about the big fight. This is a super heavyweight kickboxing championship. I believe this is our first amateur kickboxing belt for Rage in the Cage. So all alone, it's a history making, I think, for amateurs, I believe.
Is it the first amateur belt period, or just for our weight class?
I think for kickboxing, it's our first amateur belt period.
Oh, I didn't realize
So
that.
I'm not positive, but I know for sure for super heavyweight.
Yeah. I'd heard that, but I didn't know it was for amateur period.
I believe so. I'll check that.
Okay.
But I mean, I can't think of another amateur that's holding a kickboxing belt. I may be wrong, and Summer can correct me if so. So this is big for you. You've been out not out of training. You're still training, but you have not competed for 2 years. Your debut was an MMA bout for Rage in the Cage, in which you won, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So walk me through. You've got one MMA bout, 2 kickboxing, all 3 wins, and this is the next step for you, is this title fight. Walk me through your career so far and what you feel like you've accomplished inside and outside the cage.
Well, I started martial arts when I was 12 years old, and I've done it ever since. And I started with, most people start with karate, and I also did judo and some jiu-jitsu at that time. And over the course of training, I really stayed with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and striking art. Right now, I would say today, my style that I would represent is the Superfoot system, which is like a kickboxing system that was made famous by Bill Superfoot Wallace. Who that's why I earned my second degree black belt under him last year in Texas. And then also Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, which I was awarded my blue belt from Hoist Gracie. And those are kind of my predominant styles that I do the most with. So I like to have fun. I like martial arts and to play with it. And so when I took my first fight, was an MMA with you guys. Like, actually not karate tournaments, but like actual fighting, was the MMA fight with Willem Hawthorne.
Yeah. And
had a good time doing that. He was a good guy. And then I had the 2 kickboxing fights up in Bartlesville. So, and then now I was gonna fight Dalton Boyd. So hopefully I can give him a good fight. He had addressed in the past that he wasn't too interested because he didn't think I was really a caliber worthy opponent. So hopefully I can give a good fight and you know, make it, you know, whether win or lose, that he can be, okay, that was a good match, you know.
I love it. And you're going to have somebody special in your corner. I think you just mentioned his name. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. So my coach is Bill Superfoot Wallace, and Mr. Wallace, him and a couple other, a guy named Joe Lewis, which was not the brown bomber, not the boxer Joe Lewis, but the kickboxer Joe Lewis, and they had a team that established kickboxing in the 70s, and Bill Wallace was the middleweight kickboxing champ. They were the first ones to have the sport of kickboxing in America and made it popular. And he retired undefeated, 23-0, and is considered arguably one of the greatest kickers that ever lived. And still today, he's 78. He could still do the full splits. He could still kick me in the face. And but he's an
That's fun.
Yeah, it's impressive. But he's a good guy. I think the greatest thing about him and learning from him, he has good technique still. But one thing that I want to say that I learned from him is how to have a good heart, to actually have the integrity and ethics of martial arts. He passes that on, and I think that's amazing. That's good.
I love that. I mean, that's the history of it, and it's been lost along the way at some gyms, some disciplines, but I love that he follows through with that. And we all need to leave this world a little better than we,
That's right.
than it is now. So I love that you're working towards that. And you've actually taken a couple of years off. You're still training, but you're training something else as well, learning to speak your native.
So I'm in our language we call my tribe Chickasaw, though in English it was established as Chickasaw because they couldn't quite say Chickasaw that well. In fact, the town of Chickasha is actually supposed to be pronounced Chickasaw. It was named after my tribe, just like the town of Choctaw was named after the Choctaw people, in which case you have Seminole and stuff. So I'm Chickasaw, and actually my ancestors were known, and this is recorded history, not just like, this is recorded history, that my ancestors were known as really fierce warriors, from the first contact with the conquistadors, all the way up until even in recent history, in the great big wars that we've had as a country. And so for this particular fight, I've really tried to go back to the roots of how their warriors would prepare for things, that the Tushka would prepare for things, and I use that to help establish how I do. I started language when I was 14, and I've been doing it ever since. But the last couple years, I've really dove bigger into it, like more in an immersed-based type of learning, and now I can conversate in my language, and it's been beautiful. It's good to find that identity,
Do you stay in contact with many others that are fluent in your language?
Mm-hmm. I have some of our elders that are fluent. They grew up, that was their first language. And I think we only have around 30 of the first language with us, and less than 50 that can actually use the language. But yeah. In fact, a couple of them are planning to go next weekend to be there as well. And so I'm trying to create as much of my life into language as I can, and I do that with martial arts, from training to, like, when I have training, I try to use other Chickasaw and talk about in language, like if we're doing mitt drills or bag drills or slipping drills, to talk about that in the language so that way we can stay with it and use it.
Absolutely awesome. I love that you've come full circle in that, and it's going to be a lost art if us younger people don't keep it going. So that's amazing. So we're talking business now.
Okay.
Dalton Boyd, for this title fight, and there have been some sort of words between you and him in the past, or is this just a natural, both of you are just at the spot where you're ready for a title fight?
I've not ever met him, so I don't know really quite how he feels. However, I know that when I was interested to start doing fightings. This is before I made my debut, and so I looked up my weight class of fighters, and with Rage in the Cage, because I was acquainted with people that fought with you guys and worked with you guys, like Summer and everything, and so some of his fights came up, and so I don't know if it's he's a mutual friend of ours. He's a friend of mine. I don't know if he's a friend of Dalton, or they just knew each other, and so he's gonna try to get that established as a debut. And I forget, because it was come back and told me that he said that it was going to be MMA at first, and that I wasn't really worth his time because I was just a blue belt in jiu-jitsu that I guess just goes to seminars and wasn't a real fighter, didn't really train, or something along those lines. And if I really wanted to fight him so bad, it'd have to be kickboxing, and which I was okay to do too. That was actually my first love, is striking anyway. But it didn't come to effect until this year. We could finally make it happen, and I didn't expect it to be a title fight, so that was kind of recent that I was like, hey, we'd like to do this, and so I said, well, I'll give him my best shot. I'll do the best I can do,
Well, I love it. Well, we appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate that everything that you've told us today, and all of our fans here at Rage in the Cage, and what's about to go down. Gosh, as we're doing this live interview, we're just a week and one day away from the big night. So
that's, and you said it's the first time for Rage in the Cage, at least for my weight class for sure. Mm-hmm. But also, I believe it's the first for my people too, because I don't think there's ever another Chickasaw kickboxer or fighter that has went to this height, or at least one that spoke and used language. But like I said, my training, I use as much in culture enrichment with it, from from how they would do sweats and cold plunges and types of training, stuff like that. I don't think it had been done, and I really hope that I could see more of that in the future, and hopefully more people in this weight category to fight, so that this isn't the only one, that we can have more people come up and carry the sport, but carry the sport in a positive way.
Yes, very true. It is rare, I think, as the weight class of super heavyweight, active fighters in Oklahoma. There's just not a lot around right now. It's weird how it goes in cycles, where, 5 years ago we might have had a lot more. Well, wonderful. Is there anything else you would like to talk about, or any sponsors or shout outs?
Yeah, so I would like to, shout outs of course would be to my cornermen first. So my first one being my JD Underwood. He was with me on my first fight, and he showed up to my second two fights to support, but he cornered me in the first one, and he's supposed to corner me again. He'd gotten injured, so we haven't got to really train together like we had planned. Then Don Mullins. Don Mullins is a friend that I'd met through Mr. Wallace a few years back. I met him in Texas. Actually, Ty Garrett, which I think you know Ty Garrett. I met him at his school, and we've become really good friends, and he's going to help corner me. And then, of course, Bill Wallace. I'd like to thank him, because he is a legend in the sport. He is a legend in the martial art community. In fact, he was one of the commentators for UFC 1.
Oh.
He was with when you watch UFC 1, him and I think Kathy Long, and I forget the other individual. There was the three at the table. He was the commentator at UFC 1.
Wow.
I'd like to thank my Chickasaw elders that helped guide me and support me. Carlin Thompson, Hubert Alexander, Emma McLeod. Emma, she's my Chickasaw grandma, it's a Potsitoba, and also Jesse Lindsay and Michael Cornelius. They have been really huge in guiding me with re-establishing that Chickasaw identity, and I hope to make them proud too, and honor them and my people the best that I can. And in my language we say Chukmashki for thank you, so Chukmashki Hachimenali, I want to thank you all, thank them.
Chumaski?
Chukmashki.
Chukmaski?
Chukmashki, yeah.
Okay.
Think of like your Chukmashki,
okay.
yeah.
Chukmaski.
Yeah.
Close enough, right?
That's close. That's very good. It's very good.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I would try to repeat it again by saying thank you, but I don't want to butcher it too much.
You did just fine.
Out of respect.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys being here. And you guys, come on. Come support this guy, Rage in the Cage 101. You can get tickets at stubwire.com. Be sure to click down in the menu and click his name so that Ezra gets credit for those tickets sold.
Even if you're not there to watch me, if you want to just show up, I'm so poor I can't even afford to pay attention. Use my name.
Do it. And be sure to be there. Rage in the Cage 101, Saturday, August 17th. It's our last time in Oklahoma City here in 2024. We'll be back in early 2025. So if you want to see us here in Oklahoma City, this is the show to go to. And again, Saturday, August 17th, Oklahoma City Farmers Market Event Center. Tickets at stubwire.com, and we're going to rage it up.